I hope the sound is okay. I hadn't planned on recording a video, but I have some time and natural lighting, so I thought I would. Um, I guess I'll. So it's May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Um, I think the universe is telling me in a lot of ways it's time for me to move on to a new location. I'm not sure where. I'm thinking about. Not that I'm spoiled for options. um, but I thought there's really no harm in just describing accurately my living situation, which I haven't really talked about because I'm living with the support of a very conservative Christian community associated with my jailhouse pastor. Um, and I haven't wanted to associate them with me because there are many reasons. For many reasons, this conservative Baptist community probably wouldn't want to be associated with some things that I express. Um, and so I've been really careful. But then you might say, um, internet, and that it's pretty wild. The best way I can explain it is that I keep waiting for somebody to mention something in my community that I've been living in for many months now. Um, and I used to think they were being polite and pretending they hadn't seen things about me or read things about me. Um, but I think that they just live in a different internet. Um, so, for example, one of my friends from church, um, you know, I got to talking to her. This is a church that's 15 minutes from where I was born. And she was friends and socialized with my grandparents. But they'd be 100. But I don't think my YouTube or my Instagram crosses over into their Facebook is the best I can figure out. I've never intentionally hidden or misrepresented anything. So it's very difficult, especially if you are very familiar. Um, I think I've been candid about my online activity, encompassing a broad spectrum of media and genres. I'm very grateful. Basically, so I'll just talk about my living situation and why it's probably time to move on. Um, on this channel, I talked about being incarcerated last year for 7 months. When I was released, I was on a PR bond, which meant I had to be on an ankle bracelet for 6 weeks. And I was homeless, so that was hard. I had to use a solar power generator or a battery. And because I was offline, it was constantly pinging to the satellite. So I had to be plugged in and charging for 3 hours a day. Um, and to save money, because I did have actually, I had money that had accrued. So this also, to the original point about the Baptist community, before my arrest in January 2025, um, I I had been working as a Head Start teacher at Ludington Head Start, and that was when my first garnishment happened. So I found out that whatever job I do, the first $2,000 will be garnished of after-tax income. And so a Head Start teaching job doesn't pay enough to pay for $2,000 a month. And if you think, oh, I should just move to have it changed, you can go look at my channel to see why that's not in the cards for me. It's a punitive garnishment from a judge who's not a good person. So, so I lost that job, and it was January, and it's very cold and snowy. I was living in Manistee, Michigan, and I didn't know how to support myself. I just looked for because I knew that if I couldn't take care of myself, I would end up in jail or a mental hospital. So um, I thought, well, my eye's healing, but my eye was really bad then. So I was like a one-eyed 48-year-old. I was 47 at that time, 47-year-old hobo. So I calculated incorrectly. I couldn't get a sugar daddy in rural Michigan in that condition. And I forgot they fly. But, and I mean, I've been told my eyes are pretty, but that's not the primary. So because I thought, well, with I could do an OnlyFans and just pretend to be like an attractive 35-year-old. And then I researched the market and I found out they actually like older gals. That's not an issue. The issue is marketing. So Instagram likes to promote pimps. And so you can pay ads on Instagram. Literally, I screenshotted these where it would be like an AI generated image of a woman, sure, in children's clothing, maybe holding a teddy bear, and saying that if you enjoy her chat services, she will do whatever she won't. She won't say no to the things you want her to do, and because that's a problem. Because when you're dealing with actual OnlyFans girls who are derided by left and right alike, when it's an actual human being and they want me to engage in certain forms of play, I might say no, that's uncomfortable for me, or no, that's illegal, or I'll get kicked off the platform. Anyway, I mean, the only thing I need to mention is no. Human women might say no. So that's why AI women in summary. So, but that wasn't what I was going to talk about. So it's really hard to generate leads. So Instagram was really bad. It's just gotten even worse. So yeah, they don't like it. And YouTube, let's just keep it cool, okay? Keep me on here. I'm going to be good. But at that time, I was exploring artistic expression. And so to get people to my OnlyFans in a purchasing state of mind, I made videos on YouTube, transparent dress cleaning videos. We do a lot of cleaning windows. So then the light goes through the window. But then something strange happened. I didn't expect it as a one-eyed elderly hobo, but my transparent dress cleaning videos, and I will say, I think I edited them well. The music was on point, the style, the editing, they were beautiful. But I reached 1 million views and I got really good engagement, 12,000 subscribers. The average was a 55-year-old male in North America. Perfect. And I started making bank on my OnlyFans. At that point, I was like, well, I'm going to switch to YouTube, because if you get 1 million people to your YouTube, you kind of want to figure out how you can keep doing that. And YouTube started dinging me, and I was put in the 18 and older category, but I didn't mind, because when you're an 18 plus, you don't get ad revenue. But at that point, I think the FDA's caught on. But at that point, I knew that if I could get 1 million middle-aged men to my videos and then insert 1 minute at the end where I sell them what we call in the industry boner gummies or boner chews. So that was when you could get Viagra and Cialis. I think they busted it, but you could just sell these chewies. So it seemed like a good fit. And I thought, I won't have to do OnlyFans. I won't even have to take my clothes off. I will just clean the shit out of these houses just below the lines of erotic to stay on YouTube, 18 plus. It's a very narrow target, but I was going to get there. And my last video before I was arrested, I had even thought, I'm really going to lean into this is art angle, because I don't know how that's been tried, because I think because I'm old, I get to call it art. I do believe that. I believe that fundamentally. I believe that if you're 49 and you can make a compelling case for somebody to watch you cleaning in a transparent dress, I think that's art. And I wanted it protected as such, but I could not protect my intellectual property in jail. So, yeah, on Christmas Eve, it was blowing up, and I was like, oh, I think my mother will figure this out. I use an alias, but I didn't go to great lengths to hide it. So Google Image would at some point. So I thought I better just tell my mom. In theory, my mom's a normal liberal feminist. They're not supposed to be mean to whores anymore, but she doesn't necessarily follow that rule. So she's pretty old school, 1950s Catholic attitude about what we should do to whores. And so, I mean, she would, I guess she's a liberal in laws, but in terms of interpersonally, just insult them, make them feel bad about themselves, exclude them from society, as women have done forever. And not all women, obviously. So I just, and here's the ironic thing is my mother's main source of anger has nothing to do with eroticism. It's to do with me having borrowed money from her. That's something she can't forgive, is all the money I've lost. I mean, obviously I've lost my own money and my children. And it's, for a vulnerable narcissist, she can only like stay off of her wound for so long. So the financial pain is very, very enraging to my mother. So I genuinely thought on Christmas Eve when I texted her that what I said to her was, don't Google transparent dress cleaning. I just want you to know this is what I'm doing. I'm hustling. And that was, I guess, when she decided to have me committed to a mental hospital, which I guess I would love for you, to just come back and provide a link and I will get back to you. I would like for you to go find a person in acute psychosis. Actually, no, find a person who's been diagnosed with some sort of schizoid disorder and treated for 5 years, and have them create a YouTube channel that gets 1 million views. I don't think you can do that. And then I think you could try to find someone who's in active psychosis to build a YouTube. They probably could. They could be Candace. That was my hope, to make money, to kind of transition into boner pill sales. And so I was really focused on YouTube content, the wood chopping. Again, it was just trying to work with what I had around me. I had to be chopping wood all day long to have enough wood for the wood stove so I didn't freeze and my dog didn't freeze. And it's also hard because I was burning a lot of calories, so trying to keep up with the calories to keep my body fat up. And so then when I was arrested, it wasn't that strange that I would have an axe in my car, because I was chopping wood constantly all day. And yes, in jail, they did call me lumberjack. Oh, so back to where I'm living now. Because when I was in jail, the only time we could ever leave our cell, we never went outside. Even if you're there for a county year, which is 10 months, you don't go outside ever unless you're transferred somewhere. Or like if you're pregnant, to go to the doctor. 2 times I left the cell, and one time we were in the catwalk, which is the old part of the jail. They call it the catwalk because the cells all face out on a catwalk with like the old timey bars. Our room was like a cinder block room, a lot much larger. But in the catwalk, across the hall from the bars, there was like a window, and one time they opened that window, and then another time we were in the gym and they opened that window, because there was like a gym and a library. They wouldn't usually let us go to the gym or the library, so it's hard not to breathe fresh air, and it's also just hard never to leave the cell. If you went to school, but you had to be getting a GED to leave the cell for school. And then if you went to school, you could also sometimes get on some internet, but nobody else could ever really get on any internet. But then the other time you could leave is if you went to the fundamentalist Christian 12-step group or the fundamentalist Christian worship service. So I would sometimes go to them, and I met the pastors, and they are Baptist missionaries. And while I was there, the pastor became the pastor at a church near where I was born. When I was on my PR bond and I had to be like attached to the battery 3 hours a day, I got to save money. So I did have some money accrued in my OnlyFans, which was good. So I was able to eat, but I wanted to conserve money. So I went to this couple to their church and I explained I was living off grid and if I could please use the hose at the church to fill my water jugs, and that I wouldn't use it for eating, but I probably could because it's well water, but I would use it for like bathing and washing dishes and laundry. So they said I could, um, and and they invited me to, I mean, I guess maybe it was God's will. I mean, because things did work out very perfectly because to discuss it, they invited me to church and it just happened to be Communion Day, which is a day that we have a potluck. And I just happened to bring a date. It was a guy I had met on a date and he was a veteran and a firefighter. And so they saw the blondness, the veteran and the firefighter, and then they knew my family name at least, and then the kicker. So the deacons wanted to meet me, but I did tell my situation truthfully to them, of course. But they received the story as it is, like that I am one of a girl born in a farm near them who went to the big bad city of Chicago and the bad Democrats ruined her life. And that's true. So for very conservative people, my story is compelling in that way. The problem is I'm still a Democrat and I want to excise the bad Democrats and I'm a leftist, but I think I'm the true center of the party, and it's just very hard because the way I come across, people, I understand, they assume that I'm perhaps weak-willed or very accommodating, but it's hard because I am a person of faith. It's sometimes harder if you're actually a person of faith to join a narrow faith community because you do feel you would be betraying your higher power. So that's there in order for me. So, I mean, perhaps you maybe don't know this. I forget that not everyone grows up in the community I did. So, there's always one goal, which is for missionary Baptist churches to save as many souls as we can. So, even though I love Jesus, I'm a follower of Jesus, I believe Jesus is a prophet. I don't get hung up over the pronoun he for God, all of these things. But I don't debate dogma with people. So I just call myself a follower of Jesus. And I think if people want to believe that I'm not a Christian, and unfortunately for these people, that it also probably means they believe in my eternal damnation. And that makes them sad, genuinely sad. And that makes me sad. I don't want to hurt people. I don't want them worrying about my damnation. I'm not like joking about that. I sound flippant. But so for example, I don't believe that Buddhists go to hell. I don't believe in hell. That's a really big deal. I don't believe and I would never say this, but well, I am saying this obviously. I believe I am a committed monotheist, pantheistic like a singular, powerful God. I do not believe in a dualistic religion where um, many people who identify as Christians speak excessively about a figure they call Satan, as if there is a duality that just doesn't make sense to me. Truth be told, but you can't really live in this world for 49 years without conceding demons at some point. I just think the Buddhists explain it a little better. It's always clear that, the eternal universe, God, however you want to call it, is all powerful. Are tested Buddha almost exactly the way Satan tested Jesus. Strikingly similar. Buddha sat under the Bodhi tree, and Mara came to him, tried to lust. You could have all these women. You could be all powerful, just like, the devil in the Christian tradition, in the Gospels, which I find quite compelling. The story of taking Christ to, and this is an important one to remember at this exact moment, to look down upon all the kingdom of God and just, Jesus, be the king. And Jesus said no. Jesus wanted to be a carpenter, to be among the lowest among us. And that's a fundamental truth that actual Christians understand. I don't even think it's worth wasting breath to talk about a leader who would not understand that vital truth of Christ's wisdom. It's nonsense. But these questions and these tests are very important for all of us to understand. Because I think it's important to understand Christ's humanity and Buddha's humanity teach us that it's hard for them too. The temptation of power is compelling, to feel like you're God. It's extremely seductive. There are, in my experience, it's usually kind of the wide base of the church is a genuinely Christ, Buddha-centered congregation. The wickedness tends to be at the centers of power. Tara Brach, the Buddhist teacher and therapist, puts it best. When Buddha encounters Mara, Buddha, like throughout his life, he sees Mara will show up and like sneak around, and I forget his sidekick, his brother-in-law, will say, "Hey, Mara's out there. Should we go whoop him?" No, they wouldn't say that, they're Buddhists. But and Buddha's like, "That's okay." And then you just go, "Mara, I see you. Come have tea with me." Because it's safe to have tea with the devil, right? Because if you're actually a strong person of faith, you can handle their tricks, you can handle their deceptions, and you can engage with and conquer it. Because I don't believe in a dualistic religion where we have to like battle like an Avengers movie. It's resolved. The devil is a shadow of humans, and humans are just little monkeys in the end. Yeah, they don't believe that one too. Definitely don't believe that one. But yeah, so when you handle the devil as just a little bit ridiculous, which I think if you have true faith, the devil is a little ridiculous, then I think that the concept of some other God in an underworld eternally torturing people as what somebody superior to us figured out, it just doesn't make sense. So I know people have been trying to get me to say the words. They don't care what I believe, but they want me to say certain words and go through certain rituals, and that would get me a spot right inside the community. And I didn't do it when I was 6, so I don't think I'm going to do it now when I've lost everything already. But at the same time, I think it's time for, well, and then if I, the other reason, so I feel like it's partly time for me to move on because I've been in this community for a while. I worry that I might be violating their trust by not maybe being who they think I am, even though I didn't try to mislead them. And then it's I feel like if I stay, I have to get married. It's not like a theoretical thing. God is it wouldn't make sense if a man wanted me for me to be single. And like I know there's a man who I think he'll want to marry me because that's what Baptists do. They don't really date. And I don't. I mean, I knew he liked me the first time I met him, just several months ago. Um, he's he's older than my dad. I don't know how old. Um, he's very nice. Um, so I like him and we're friendly. But I know that he he wants to take me to lunch, and the problem is I can't really ask the church to support me unless I am willing to take the next steps for what a Christian woman in their church would do. Um, I don't know. That's just that's kind of it's not just Christian older men. Usually when men if they date you over 50 and they like you, they try to lock it in somehow. They'll try to marry you or I don't know. They do not like to be single. Um and um I don't know. It sounds bad, but I feel like most widowers they just want a warm body that will make them sandwiches. That sounds really derisive, but um, it's just kind of like a job, and I don't think I will do that. Um, but it's tempting because I can't. I mean, it almost sometimes feels like Gideon's playing a long game with me because it's like I'm not a citizen. I try to explain people. Um, I don't like to spend a lot of time with people because I'm not really a citizen. I feel like a ghost because I can't really earn money. I can't get a job and earn money. I can't own things. They get taken away. Um, I can't really go outside without really being afraid of getting arrested. I can't. Um, I just have really loose. I don't have anything, So, um, a homeless shelter sounds really scary. I feel like then I'd lose even more. Um, so I feel like if I don't make a move to maybe a bigger city, maybe where I can get because I haven't been able. I'm so rural. I haven't been able to find cleaning jobs. I haven't been able to get accounting jobs. But I know in bigger cities I can um, find some kind of work, or I can be in a city. Maybe, maybe if you think of that, it's really funny. Um, I remember reading a research paper 20 years ago about sex trafficking, and they were talking about kind of an issue that, well, really anyone sensitive to the actual issues understands, which is that often I wouldn't say feminists, just liberal women, um, have ostensibly, out of taking care of women, well, sometimes enacting measures to make their lives worse. And so one example that they talked about is like in Thailand, obviously we're not talking about children, we're talking about adults. Um, so like a woman in Thailand who is maybe paid by a wealthy Japanese businessman to be his mistress. And she really only has to see him like uh, once or twice a month, maybe. And otherwise, she's fed, she's safe. She lives in a maybe a home in a safer neighborhood where people can't hurt her. She maybe can take care of her children, feed them. She can maybe escape a domestic violence situation. Um, and then they said, well, compare that to many peasant Thai women who are sex slaves to their husbands and beaten. And so I know that it doesn't, well, I guess it should probably offend the conscience that a 49-year-old woman with a master's degree and many skills is forced to find a rich MAGA man to give her presents. Um, that might be something that you wish wouldn't be the case. I do as well. But is that worse than marrying someone that I don't love because I'm scared of living in jail? I don't know. It doesn't feel that much worse to me. I hadn't planned on talking about those things. Yeah, I don't want to talk about those things. I actually wanted to talk about my newest creative venture because I do like to have a creative outlet. And sometimes I get, I'm like a dog with a bone. I get obsessed with a creative project and it just like takes over. And it is invariably with zero commercial value. So it's an entire waste of my time. I should be doing anything else but this because I'm a hobo. But I can't because it's just gotten under my skin. And so I started creating a series of based on, I used to really love The Real Housewives, that I thought it was a good way to dramatize uh, the really odd way many powerful Democratic senators are enabling Netanyahu while pretending that they're not genocidal maniacs themselves. I'm just tired of it. I really fear for my children's safety. I fear that there won't even be a Navy left to defend them from China in 5 years because the Mad King is running loose and nobody wants to tell the truth. So I think now is the time to go after the bad Democrats and get them out of the party. That is something I fundamentally believe. I do believe this fight is more important right now than fighting the Republicans because we need the power of the Democratic Party to defeat tyranny. So I do hope that my art can somehow work towards that end. But the reason I chose The Real Housewives is because it's like the ultimate comedy of manners. I think like when it started in the early 2000s, it genuinely was kind of like E Network, like just like glorifying these rich women's lifestyles. And there would just be these long montages of, let me show you my closet. But as things wore on, it's sort of what we started to see in the community is like the genre switched to true crime. That was the big thing because it was just so great watching. And it was always the villains, including Erica Jane, like people who got caught up in these things. You were just so happy to see people who deserved to be arrested get arrested. It's like the only place it happened was when Jen Shaw got arrested on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, classic. And so I thought what I love about the Real Housewives is that these people really think that they're the heroes, but they're the anti-heroes. And I feel like that about describes Senator Cory Booker, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, or is it Gillibrand? Don't really care. And Senator Chuck Schumer and others. Um, I think you can be a supporter of genocide. You can be hawks all you want. Just get out of my party. Go to the other side. You are welcome there. The genocide, the pro-Israeli genocidal party is MAGA. Go join that party. The opposition to genocide is the Democrats. So please leave our party. Just go. I don't really want to criticize you further than that. I just want to see your juicy backsides hustling towards that door. So, but then as art took over, I had a vision, and I really wanted to make Benjamin Netanyahu, or Bibi, like a friend of on the show. But clearly, Benjamin Netanyahu has more power over U.S. foreign policy than any of these schmoes who call themselves senators or our own president. This is not some old trope. This is just the world we're living in today. So I thought Netanyahu is interesting because I bet there's a part of him. He's strategic and he's a criminal. He's a good gangster. He knows to not expose how weird and creepy he is. And he keeps things locked up. But I bet there's a part of him that is really sad that he doesn't get to sit on a throne and admire his work openly. Do you know what I mean? So, and that intuition came to me through Canva, because when I put Benjamin Netanyahu in Canva, and I wanted to put him, I was just making, every housewife has to have an evening gown look well, they go to galas and things. So I put, and they always have like glamour shots. So when Canva generated it, I just saw immediately the glistening gold, but then this wig. I immediately saw Louis, Louis the 14th, the Sun King, and the wig, the flowing brown tresses going down, and I thought, yeah, that says some vital truth about Benjamin Netanyahu. So then when I had his beautiful, glamorous look, and I could see him as kind of the little Sun King popping in, dancing in, then I decided to start putting him in other looks for the gal season. So I knew we were going to go to the Polo Grounds, and there's the classic scene in Pretty Woman. Julia Roberts wears a brown polka dotted dress. So I gave Canva the prompt to put Bibi in the Pretty Woman brown polka dot dress, and it didn't quite hit it, but I feel like this picture of Bibi captures an even more important vital essence than Louis the 14th. I feel like there is like a Bibi inside that is in 1987, chain smoking Virginia Slims and partying at the bar on the weekends. And I feel like maybe that's like what was lost that made Bibi such a monster. I don't know. But I just feel like this is the essence of Bibi that I think Canva created. And that's my art. So I have a lot of fun little scenarios in mind, and 9 of us think they're hilarious.